Beautiful day here in the Boston area for an outstanding matchup as the second-ranked Virginia Cavaliers are in town to take on 16th-ranked Harvard. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today, along with Adam Pascal and Joel Godet in a moment. I'm Eric Galanti. What a great game. What a great day for Lacrosse and New England, first and foremost. You don't get that many ACC teams up here in New England, but Virginia is here in front of what should be a sellout plus today.
We talked about it on the phone call. This is a recruiting gem. It's a hot spot for recruiting. That's why the Cavaliers are in town.
It really should be special lacrosse as well, and this Virginia team is loaded up front, as they always are. It starts with Peyton Cormier, who is second nationally in goals per game.
Peyton Cormier is the best shooter and the best finisher in the world right now. It's going to be a great opportunity for New Englanders to watch him in person.
He is the reigning ACC Offensive Player of the Week after combining for 11 goals over his last two games against UAlbany and Drexel. Another pretty good offensive player on the other side is Sam King for Harvard. He is second nationally in points per game this year.
Second nationally, leading the Harvard team and doing an incredible job taking the next step in his third year, becoming elite.
Obviously a tough task today, but these are two of the best offenses that we have in the country going head-to-head today.
You mentioned it. There's Schellenberger, there's McCabe, there's Malone, but there's also Cole Kastner and there's Colin Bergstrom, and it's going to be a great game for the goaltenders on both teams.
And what a day it is here in the Boston area. And we take a look at our starting goalie matchup today. Christian Barnard, who really has been good here, especially recently here, Adam. Don't sleep on the fact that Harvard lost their last two games. He set new career high in saves each of his last two games, including 20 of them against Princeton.
He was the difference maker in the Princeton game. I know coming in, the odds makers thought that would probably be a 6 or 7 goal game. But with over 20 saves, he's critical in the riding and clearing game, but Barnard's done a terrific job this season so far.
And these are two of the best teams in the country in clearing. We'll talk about that as we go through. On the other side, Matthew Nunes, the junior from the Woodlands, Texas, comes in 8th nationally in save percentage. He always seems to rise to the occasions in his biggest games. He's been the starter now for a couple of years for UVA.
I would imagine most of the time the ball looks like a beach ball to Nunes. He's started almost every game since he's been in Charlottesville. It's great to watch him play. Another 5-star elite recruit for Coach Tiffany.
Well, these are really the kind of games that you love to see in the non-conference. And this Virginia team, number 2 in the country. We talked with Jerry Byrne, the head coach of Harvard this week. He called them one of the Mount Rushmore programs. And anytime you get one of those to come to your building, it's special stuff. First time for Virginia playing at Harvard in men's lacrosse. In fact, we were told by one longtime Virginia fan, this is the first time one of the 3 major men's programs for Virginia, football, basketball, or lacrosse, has played at Harvard since the 1930s. So rare stuff there, as you see Barnard take the start. Last year, this was one of the highest scoring games in the history of this sport. We'll get into that as we go through. But it was Virginia really who was out front running that game the whole way. How important is the start here for the Crimson?
The start of the season has been critical for the Crimson, but also for today, right down the middle, like we talked about, face-offs for both teams are a point that they're each trying to figure out.
The face-off is going to be crucial today. We'll take you through why as we go through. It's Thomas Colucci, the grad student from New Jersey, to take it for Virginia. On the other side for Harvard, Andrew DiGennaro, the junior, is the one who will take most of them for Harvard. Virginia, which had such stability among their Fogos for years, it felt like. Now all of a sudden it's kind of been a rotating door this year. They are without Anthony Gobriel, the junior from Dallas, once again today. So it's Colucci who gets tasked with the first faceoff for the Cavaliers.
This is going to be a great battle at the face-off X. I think the midfield will tell a tremendous amount about which way this game goes. Ground balls off the wings.
Colucci had it momentarily, and now the ground ball is picking up by Virginia. Ben Weyer. And Virginia nearly threw it away, but Nunes is back to get it. And we get set to go here. Sellout crowd here at Jordan Field in Cambridge for Harvard and Virginia for the second year in a row and fifth time ever. Crimson putting on a little bit of a ride, but it's Colsey who brings it in, and Virginia can set up their offense.
This first group of Schutz, Boyden, and Colsey, they're massive. They're such big, athletic, hyper-skilled players. Here's your opportunity here, short stick matchup for Schutz.
Here is Schutz, who goes dodging right. His quick shot hit the post. Virginia, though, is right back on it. And the Cavaliers back to work, and that shot goes from Peyton Cormier right on cue, gives the Cavaliers an early lead.
The big man from Mimico gets right to the backside chalk. He knows right where Schellenberger's eyes are going to lead and does a terrific job of holding the ball for half a second, and he's on the scoreboard already. Colsey picks the ball up. Great job getting it through X. There he is, right on the backside. You can see Cormier just drifts away from his short stick and finishes.
So Peyton Cormier, who, as we said, came in second in the country in goals per game, the reigning ACC Offensive Player of the Week. He's already UVA's career leader in goals, and he scores his 37th of this young season. So a 1-0 start for Virginia. It's hard not to notice right when they came onto the field today, you and I and Joel were talking about it, this Virginia team is just such a big group when you look at them. There's so much size on this team.
Coach Tiffany has always recruited dynamic athletes, and I think when he went to Virginia from Brown, he got the opportunity to recruit Power 5 football type athletes to build this roster.
Here is Schellenberger, one of the best in the country. Good setup for Cormier, and his shot is stopped. So first save of the game for Barnard, and Harvard will really have their first opportunity to clear.
Last week against Princeton, we didn't really get to mention the short stick midfielders for Harvard because Princeton was so dominant behind the cage. This should be interesting with Chase Yeager back in the building, Eric, who was at Harvard for the last few years.
Yeah, an All-American for the Crimson, now with Virginia in his grad year. Here is Jackson Green, who starts the offense here for Harvard, and it's King, who will quarterback from X. Crimson obviously in the home whites today as they go to work. Set up on the pass. It is taken away. That's the stick of George Fulton, who's a native of Boston, coming back here, the junior defender, who had a season-high 5 ground balls last time out for Virginia in a 14-4 win over Drexel.
George Fulton from the Middlesex School. Jack Boyden spent most of his collegiate time at Tufts, and I know there are a lot of high-end prospects from the area coming to Virginia as well, but that was a great pickoff.
And there is a whistle as Virginia did not get it across, so Harvard will have possession. These two teams are second and third nationally in their clearing percentage this year. Now the Crimson, who has always had a very good ride under Jerry Byrne, and they put it to work right there.
Here's a change in the roster here a little bit. Joe Dowling running with John Arndt and number 32, the first year from Manhasset in the lineup. He's missed it the last few games.
Yeah, it's Jack Peterson who goes to work here as the Crimson down by a goal here in the early going first quarter of a game that saw both teams exceed 20 when they played in Harvard's opener last year down in Charlottesville. Malone nodding to his left. Crimson continue to work on the offensive end.
True to form, the Cavaliers are sliding very often and very early to this Crimson offense.
That one is thrown away. Pass for Jack Peterson was behind him, and Virginia will pick it up. See if they can clear it out this time.
Both teams able to change, not pushing the ball. You see Truett Sunderland, number 3 in the midfield for Virginia, was a really, really 5-star high-end recruit out of Calvert Hall a year ago.
So Virginia slowed down a little bit. Connor Schellenberger. This is one spot where Lars Tiffany talked to us about when they get settled into that 6v6 offense, how effective can they be? They've been really good unsettled, but can they settle in here 6v6 as the year goes on? Chance here for Will Corey. Campese is the closest to him for the Crimson. 34 to shoot for Virginia. 4 minutes into this first quarter and a 1-0 lead for the Cavaliers. Here is the outstanding first-year Millen. One of the top recruits in the nation coming into Virginia. Got the pass away. Down to 18 to shoot for Schellenberger. Comes to the middle. They tried to turn a shot with Corey, then did get the shot away, but it was over the bar. Back up by Virginia with 13 to shoot.
Virginia running double picks on both wings, really occupying the Harvard defense and forcing them to either switch or communicate, creating matchups for this Cavalier offense.
6 to shoot. Schellenberger has to get it off, falls to the ground, 2 seconds, and that's it. Crimson get possession away. A good defensive stand that time by Harvard.
Colin Bergstrom, Harvard defense forcing the stand there. Great job, and here's Logan Ip looking to play fast in the middle of the field.
Sophomore with one of the best shooting percentages in the country. It's ahead for Sam King. Leading the Crimson this year, 24 goals, 26 assists to 50 points once again. Botkiss over for Logan Ip. Closest to him is Ben Weyer. Pass Malone does control.
This is Harvard's version of what Coach Tiffany called early offense. You can see they're pulling a player out, making Virginia have to play 5-on-5.
And our first flag of the game comes out with the save made by Matthew Nunes. So an opportunity here on the man up.
Harvard has been very simple and very fundamental throughout the year. They play in the 3-3 mostly. They'll start in weird positions, but you can imagine on the left side, Malone and Botkiss will be on the left side, and they'll rotate the other 4 players around those shooters.
It's John Schroeder, the sophomore, who missed 3 games before returning against Drexel last time, who was whistled there. So now this is one spot where the Crimson might have a little bit of a statistical advantage. They've been very good on the man up this year. Virginia's man down defense does not stand out statistically. So we'll see if the Crimson can take advantage. Bounce shot, and they do. Logan Ip ties it early.
Eric, you mentioned it earlier. He's one of the most efficient shooters in the country. Here's an extra man opportunity. All Ip really has to do is step down and shrug through an approaching defender, and he puts the ball on cage. Nunes, very little he can do here from 10 yards. But great extra man offense by Harvard. You can see them rallying around the sophomore from the West Coast.
Again, we mentioned it this week with Jerry Byrne. You can't play these games on paper, but at least on paper, it feels like that's the one spot where if Harvard can take advantage of their man-up chances against a Virginia team that struggled there a little bit defensively, that's a real opportunity for the Crimson.
Eric, I agree. That's a position where coaches can actually impact the game. The scouting report and preparing your team can really, really show, and the weeks of practice can show on the weekend.
So off a turnover after Harvard did win the next face-off. Virginia will try to clear. There are 2 for 3 clearing so far, and they do touch in with Griffin Schutz, a junior from not too far away in Trumbull, Connecticut. Schutz is straight on. And this pass for McCabe Millen.
You see the rub off the pick there. That's Finn Picorni, number 42 for Harvard. Just switched over to play more of a defensive role in the last few weeks, getting a lot of playing time in critical situations.
Jerry Byrne mentioned some of those guys as being so important. That shot finds its way, and it does just cross the line. I think that Barnard got a piece of it before it does trickle over the goal mouth and in for a Virginia 2-1 lead.
Virginia with the, shall we say, the fruit of riches of having 2 inside finishers in Canadian. You got Peyton Cormier, and here's Jack Boyden. I think that's 28, finding a way to get the ball on goal. But these 2 young men are so hyper-skilled with their strong hands. That's great setup. He plays the defender on his back and finishes that off his knees. Great finish.
So the lead is 2-1, and I think we're going to get a challenge here from Jerry Byrne to see whether this ball did indeed cross the line. This is one of the new points of emphasis this year across college lacrosse, more extended video reviews. So the officials will come over, they will take a peek at the iPad, and they will see whether this ball did indeed cross to give Virginia a 2-1 lead over Harvard. Here as we play with 8:26 remaining in the first quarter. You get a challenge each half. That challenge does not carry over. If you win it, you get it back. If you lose it for the half.
we've been very fortunate at all the games here so far at Jordan Field for this really not to slow down and stall the momentum of the action. So hopefully I didn't just jinx this, and hopefully we can keep this thing rolling. But once again, from here, it didn't look like Boyden was in the crease. It looked like maybe they get a push from Harvard, but I don't think that's why they're looking at the replay, in my opinion.
You see where Harvard was picked in the Ivy League preseason poll. Another fantastic year in the Ivy League, so no shame being picked 5th. And this is where they are early in the season, so losses to Yale and Princeton. And those were really different games. Against Yale, Harvard got down big early. To their credit, they came back, but it was not enough. Against Princeton, it was a much more even game, but Princeton really controlled that final quarter.
Princeton was dominant offensively, and you knew it coming in. They have their top 8 is just excellent. Christian Barnard played a great game for Harvard, but in the end, it was just Princeton had the volume of opportunity for that offense.
Again, it was pretty amazing that he made 19 and 20 saves in back-to-back games, and setting new career highs. So they stick with the call on the field. It is a good goal, so Harvard will lose their challenge for the rest of this first half. And the score remains 2-1 in favor of Virginia.
I'd like to say this Nesson broadcast, these camera angles, the drone, I think it's pretty awesome. It looks great.
Great work by our crew adding in some cameras today as we are here on Nesson and ESPN Plus. Appreciate you joining us here for coverage of the second-ranked team in the country. And as you said, everyone has come out to watch Virginia. A special day here at Jordan Field. It is packed all the way around. As Tiffany talked about, they've been lucky. They've been able to come up here to New England a couple of times because they obviously played in a Final Four in Hartford a couple of times, but had to come up, scheduled it this year. It's Virginia, who has made the Final Four 3 of the last 4 seasons. And there has been a Final Four, including 2 national titles, 2019 and 2021.
You can tell from this perspective that Harvard's been doing some good work in practice. We have a couple new players on the field.
Here's a quick run. Flag does fly, as it's a really good effort coming in there by Jack Peterson, who, as you talked about, is getting more and more time today. And he's the one who ends up earning the foul call. That was Joey Terenzi, the sophomore, who was whistled for Virginia.
Jack Peterson had a 5-star high school career at Manhasset. Love to see him making the most of these shifts. He kind of had to spend a couple weeks in the middle of the last 5 weeks of the season kind of not being a freshman and growing up, getting used to the long days in the weight room. But he's back in the lineup, and he's had a great first quarter.
So the Crimson, again, we talked about it, another opportunity on the man up. They are 1 for 1 so far today.
You see the 3-3, the simple set. Virginia's going to cover behind the cage. It looks a little bit like.
Oh, nearly created a turnover, and they do.
Great coaching, great opportunity there. Virginia trying to make up for that Logan Ip goal earlier.
And Virginia going to try to go quickly here on the man down. Millen thought about it, instead passed it off to Cormier, who just missed. Harvard is there on the backup, so they will get another opportunity on it. Do you like that quick shot with the man down?
I love the shot because you see how incredible he is. The flick of the wrist, it looks like he counted 1-1000, 1-1002, and then just put it right in the corner. Great stop by Barnard.
I guess if you got a chance with Cormier, you take it no matter what situation it is. So the Crimson will get at least 15 seconds here of continued time on the man up. Sam King is straight on this time. Botkiss works it back around as Harvard continues to cycle. Down to 1 second remaining on the man up. Back to even strength as that shot comes through from Teddy Malone. And it missed wide. Backup will keep it here.
I think when Teddy Malone gets to the sideline, he'll see he had 1 or 2 more seconds to make a move on ball as George Fulton slid across the crease there.
Liam Griffiths comes in on this sequence for Harvard as the Crimson now back even as they play down by a goal here first quarter. Good setup, but then a bouncing ball is available for Virginia. And Ben Weyer picks it. Weyer, who is first in the ACC in caused turnovers per game and 5th in ground balls, adds 1 there. And Virginia quickly cycles. Cormier's chance missed wide.
Shooters shoot. You love to see that. Cormier doesn't even think that ball didn't hit the cage. He gets right to his spot, off ball, ready to go and reset. Virginia's playing so fast defensively.
Yeah, that was one thing that Jerry Byrne mentioned to us this week. I think everyone knows and thinks of them as how fast they are offensively, but it's really the speed of their defense which stands out as much as anything. They work here on the offensive end. Ball comes out. Ground ball to Harvard. And then we play on with a clean check at first. The Crimson are still on it. It was Martin Nelson who came up with the initial ground ball for Harvard. And then King gets to it before it got to the Virginia sideline and picks up the ground ball.
I love the officials keeping the pocket, their flags in their pockets. That was a great hit by Colsey, great turnover, forced turnover by Nelson. This is going to be a great lacrosse game. The weather's here. Kids are playing fast. Both teams are playing with a lot of confidence.
And so far, at least, maybe not quite the scoring that you thought just based on where this game was a season ago. But it's Harvard on the offensive end, down by a goal. Quick try in front, good save, rebound following it up. Noon's got it twice. The second effort from John Arndt, and a great save by Noons there. He stopped two.
Great dodge off the high wing again. John Arndt would love to have that back, but Virginia's not really stopping Harvard. Harvard just needs to shoot the ball a little bit better.
It was, the first attempt was from Matt Baracco, the sophomore. So now Virginia back up again. It's a 2-1 game, 4:41 remaining here in the first quarter from Jordan Field in Cambridge. That second goal was indeed given to Boyden. So Boyden, who came in from Tufts after a great career right up the road from here, now playing for Virginia. One of those guys filling in. Here is Schutz. Comes down away from Ray Dirth. Schellenberger cycles around. Here's Millen. And got it away to Colsey. Loose ball. Again, it's Nelson who's right there.
You love to see the offense by Coach Cassis. You know that Colsey's coming back to his left hand, so he brings the pick to the roll side. Great job. This Virginia offense is so fun to watch.
Kevin Cassis is the new offensive coordinator for Virginia this year after the long time as the head coach of Lehigh. Lars Tiffany, who has not had to change his staff around very much. He's had assistants there for a long time. But Sean Kerwin, who got the head coaching job at Dartmouth, who was the offensive coordinator the last couple of years. That shot missed wide, back up to Harvard. And it looks like Virginia is going to take a timeout here. So with 3:36 remaining in this first quarter, it is Virginia holding a 2-1 lead over Harvard in this top six.
Cavaliers were going to do at the face-off ends. They graduated Petey LaSalla, the all-time NCAA record holder in face-offs taken, and then Mac Eldridge also transferred to Penn. That left UVA with only Gable Braun as a face-off man. He missed all of last season because of injury. So what did head coach Lars Tiffany do? He went into the portal and found not one, not two, but three new face-off men. That's one more transfer than Virginia usually takes at all over the course of the season. It's worked out fairly well. They're 25th in the country at the face-off X, but Eric, the biggest thing has been the ground ball game and the impact that the Wings have had. UVA is second in the country in ground balls. It's gained a lot of possession. That's led to a lot of offense.
And so far, the faceoffs have been pretty even today, Joel, but that is something that we continue to watch with this Virginia team, especially as the year goes through without Gobriel today. So an opportunity here out of the timeout. Some changes defensively for Virginia we'll tell you about in a second as Harvard operates on the offensive side. King's pass, though, whips it wide, and that is going the other way. So the change there was Mike Prestopino, the senior, came in. He started twice this year, though he's played in every game for Virginia, and number 15 was inserted there to play defensively, and Virginia makes a stand.
That Harvard offensive possession, you can see they're trying to figure out how and where to attack this Virginia defense. Moving Sam King around, it took them a little bit last week against Princeton. We'll see what the size of Virginia continues to do to this Harvard offense.
So now it's Virginia up by a goal here. 2-1 game with 2:46 remaining. Schellenberger got it over for Millen. Millen, who has taken the spot that last year Xander Dixon, who had an ACC best 61 goals as the third attackman between Schellenberger and Cormier, and Millen has filled that role quite well so far for Virginia this year. 32 to shoot for the Cavaliers. And Schellenberger is back on it now. Moving away from Bergstrom. Got the pass away.
You can
NC
see,
didn't really have anywhere to go.
excuse me, Eric, you can see how small these windows are that the Cavaliers are throwing these two-man passes in. These are 3-yard windows. You can see how elite the stick work is.
Mankey faked the handoff, instead works it around. Sunderland turning shot, didn't get it on goal. Just 2 seconds remaining on the timer, and Barnard's out to get it.
Is that 2 possessions so far that Harvard has forced almost clock violations?
Yes. Yep, all the way down there twice for Harvard in the game. They've done a really nice job, and it's still just a 2-1 game for, again, 2 of the top 6 offenses in the country. Long pass executed, but there was nowhere really to go. Oh boy, there was a great opportunity there from Jack Spidell after catching the long pass from Barnard, but he just didn't have the help yet.
You look at the clock, there's under 1:30 in the first quarter. Harvard's playing a lot of youth in their offense. Spring is sprung here on the Charles.
Here is Teddy Malone, dodging, turning, a shot is stopped by Nunes. So Matthew Nunes makes another save. It's his 5th save already. Virginia goes quickly, Cormier's shot, denied on the other end by Barnard, with under a minute remaining now here in the first quarter. Virginia stays on possession though off the backup. There's about a 2-second difference between the possession and the time left. So Virginia can take this all the way down if they should choose. At the end of the first quarter of a 1-goal game, Schellenberger coming around. That might have gotten the post as well.
That's a post. Cormier's hit the goal 3 times as well. Christian Barnard putting a wrapper up on the cage so far today.
It stays with Virginia, under 30 seconds remaining. And gonna have a flag here. This will be the first against Harvard. See how quickly Millen wants to go. He decides to retreat back with 13 seconds remaining. Millen dodging through, tried a behind the back shot. It was not on goal. And with 6.8 seconds remaining, violation against the Crimson. So Virginia will go to the man up for the first time.
Here's an opportunity to see one of the most highly skilled group of 6 players in the country coming out of the ACC. 5 stars all around. These players were all All-Americans in high school. This is going to be great to watch. I'm excited to see Schellenberger playing with Millen and Boyden. You see how the righties and lefties are playing together, and see if they rotate Griffin Schutz. He's such a great standstill shooter. Let's see what they do with him. Or more importantly, with the clock at 4 seconds, let's watch them all stand there as the time runs out.
That's exactly what they'll do. So they will reset with the man advantage as we go to quarter number 2 here from Jordan Field in Cambridge. A little bit of a lower scoring start than we might have expected, but the second-ranked Cavaliers with a 2-1 lead over Harvard after 1 in this top 16 showdown on the chart. Well, fun start so far in this 5th all-time meeting between Virginia and Harvard. And as we said, the first meeting here, Virginia's first time ever playing at Harvard. Boy, that game last year, so again, it was Harvard's opener. 25-21 was the final, but remember, Virginia had a huge lead at halftime. It was 20-8. But in that game, it had the most face-offs ever taken in an NCAA Division I game. It was a record, though, that only stood for 71 days because there were 52 face-offs taken 71 days later between Marist and Quinnipiac. But still pretty amazing that that record got broken in that game.
I think what most of us remember about that game was the halftime score. I think it was such an exceptional, for lack of a better word, blowout.
Yep, 20-8.
That final score was, you know, you're imagining how incredible the Herculean effort was by the Crimson in the second half.
Here's a quick try. Did that go? First one did not from Cormier, and then he got a second effort right away, and it immediately squirts out to the near side. Good pressure, though, by Schellenberger to get possession quickly back for Virginia. Cavaliers start quickly here. That's a turnaround shot behind the back from Colsey that did not go. That was 3 in a row of how did that ball not go in there for Virginia.
Peyton Cormier just keeps on shooting. You can see the release, but that ground ball behind the back by Colsey just shows off how hyper-skilled these players are.
So Virginia cannot take advantage of the man up despite a bunch of chances, though. They may be going right back on it as another flag comes out. So Virginia cycling again, up 2-1. Quick rip. That ended up missing wide. That was Schellenberger who had that last opportunity.
This is going to be a great chance for us to watch, once again, an elite group of 6 players moving around. I think Cormier is definitely going to get some shots. Ryan Colsey's getting a ton of opportunities today as well. But Griffin Schutz, he's the heavy standstill shooter on the right side. Let's see what they do. These are different starting spots right now that Virginia has shown so far in extra man.
So they start here with Colsey. So Virginia 0 for 1 so far with the man up. Again, Cavaliers have been good in these spots this year. Top 5 nationally, both of these teams on the man up. Colsey, back for Schellenberger. That's a ball that rolls into Barnard. So Harvard 2 in a row, they shut down.
Coach Byrne and the defense playing a 5-man rotation. That allows the whole group to play together and cover the 6 fantastic shooters for Virginia.
Good.
And they did a great job forcing that knockdown inside.
Yeah, good pressure then on the ride, though, for Virginia. And the Cavaliers are back on possession. That was Cole Kastner, who, as you said, we're going to call his name a lot, who caused a turnover there. And Virginia is right back in with possession here. No longer on the man up, but an opportunity once again on offense. Still just a 2-1 game. Virginia up on Harvard as we play here 2 minutes into the second quarter.
Virginia, with the travel restrictions, playing almost everyone on the bench, and it's really allowing this first midfield to get some chemistry and get a lot of time together.
Well, there's Cormier, who has a goal already. Cormier and Boyden with goals for UVA. It's Ip with the goal on the man up for Harvard. Schellenberger from X. And a whistle here as the officials call for time as Cormier went down in some pain away from the play. So Cormier kind of hunched over here, and that is a scary sight there for one of the best players in the country.
Looked like a non-contact injury, but he was kind of holding the 4 of the 2-4. So we'll see what happened, but I imagine.
Good to see him at least jogging there and coming over to the sideline. You see Lars Tiffany, the head coach of Virginia. So we will keep an eye on 24 for Virginia. That's obviously a huge thing to watch. He's standing on the sideline right now, still talking over with the training staff. So Virginia back to work on the offensive end. Here is Schutz. Spins a pass back. Harvard knocked it down.
Thomas Menke, number 2 on the floor right now for Virginia with Cormier on the sideline.
So good job by Harvard to get possession back there. Ray Dirth is the one who eventually got the ground ball. They've played pretty well defensively. I mean, there's been help by some posts here or there, but holding Virginia to just 2 right now is not nothing. Harvard goes quickly, and Malone's shot. Boy, Nunes has been on his game early, but it's Virginia who backs it up, and the Cavaliers are right back on possession. They've held way more of the ball so far in this second quarter.
Eric, I'm going to take that comment from the other way and say these Harvard and Virginia shooters have really been on. They're not shooting far off the cage. The goalies are definitely earning their shirts and their snacks after the game today. This has been a great, great offensive game, in my opinion, making the teams work for it, and the crowd keeps pouring in.
And just good to note, Peyton Cormier is right back in here for Virginia. So good to see from one of the best players in the country.
See that Cormier gives Sean Jordan a little bit of a bump there, saying he's back. So this should be fun to watch. I imagine the ball goes to Cormier.
Terenzi ripped, it's blocked. That was Logan Darren who came over and basically just blocked that clean with his stick. Never got into Barnard.
Vin Jensen here, number 20, first shifts of the game for him. Quite a draw.
Schellenberger spinning a shot, that just missed. Back up though to Virginia and McCabe Millen.
See when Connor Schellenberger comes out of that dodge, his hands are ready to shoot. So when he's planning and turning that shoulder, the ball is coming out.
So Millen restarts, quick pass in front, it's stopped by Barnard, and it stays out. What a great save. Ball is still loose here. Virginia's offensive guys were running off, changing. The ball actually sat loose for a moment behind Patrick McIntosh. Wow, what a stop there by Barnard, who quickly throws it all the way downfield once again. And Harvard's back in position going quickly.
Jack Spidell, the first year checking in. It's his second time on the floor so far. His parents supposedly brought me a nice chicken cutlet sandwich today. I'm excited to get that after the game. But Spidell's another 5-star from Long Island. Grew up in the 3-village system in Ward Melville.
I hope you can find him. It's like standing room only 2, 3, 4 deep here. It is a massive crowd on hand for what's been a great game so far. 2-1 lead for Virginia coming up on the 10-minute mark of this first half. Logan Ipp, who has the Harvard goal so far in the game. King from X, turning, couldn't get the shot away. What a defensive effort by Cole Kastner, one of the best in the country. But Harvard's right back on it, going quickly, grip, and they score! Jack Spidell with his second goal ties the game at 2.
That makes me so happy, because now I can definitely track down his parents and say, congratulations, Jack scored a goal. Let's hand over some sandwiches. But you see how fundamental the first year is? Plays his role and finds his spot in this Harvard offense. Sam King draws the attention, but how about that feed from Miles Botkus, who's been on a tear, the lefty from the West Coast, feeding the ball and supporting his teammates so far this season.
So a great setup that time, and Harvard, even there, kind of found themselves in a little bit of an unsettled sequence and took advantage. So Spidell with his second career goal the first year from Long Island, and we have a 2-2 tie. It's been interesting. We talked so much about where would the face-offs be in this game. We haven't had that many face-offs because there hasn't been nearly as many goals as you might have expected between these two teams.
Great point, Eric, and I've been really excited. That was probably the calmest a Harvard possession has gone so far this game.
Had a couple of different cracks at it. It also felt like maybe one of the first times they weren't just one and done on the offensive end.
I agree, and here are those high picks on the wings for Virginia, just trying to find matchups and create difficult opportunities for this Harvard defense.
Gabe Millen right now working against Nelson. Millen gets in, and a save by Barnard. Boy, is he on his game right now.
Barnard is doing a great job throwing a wrapper on the cage. Can Owen Guest get this ball out? Martin Nelson with a great ground ball to change fields.
Both teams are 9 for 10 clearing so far. Second and third nationally in clearing percentage.
This midfield is very unique. Hilsenrath, Arndt, and Joe Dowling. Some experience here. No first years on this group. Spidell's down there with King as well, and Malone. Malone is due for a goal as far as I'm concerned. He's been a little quiet so far. He's had some opportunities, but needs a couple more.
Kastner putting pressure on King. Sam King works it back to X. Here's Dowling. Forced tie. Pass comes through the middle. Still on possession. They score! John Arndt gives Harvard the lead.
Joe Dowling with a heavy carry through traffic finds John Arndt. But you can see what Harvard's trying to do. They're running picks at Kastner so Sam King can get touches. But Virginia's just so tough to beat that the rest of the band's gonna have to step up for Harvard. You can see how excited John Arndt is there coming off the field. But that's just continually doing their plan and running their scheme. And how about that, running through 2 sticks, and he beats Nunes on a high bouncer stick side high.
So it's a 3-2 lead for Harvard as John Arndt, the sophomore, with his 6th goal of the season. After scoring 3 a year ago, and the Crimson are right back on possession off the faceoff. So Harvard now 4 for 7 on the faceoff so far today.
Matt Baracco getting his opportunity today to impact the game for the Crimson at the faceoff X.
So we've definitely seen some different guys, some different rotations for the Crimson. Jerry Byrne has shown here against one of the best teams in the country, Virginia, coming in at 8-1, just 1 loss on the season to Johns Hopkins.
This is the one group that has not changed all year. The Jackson Green, Miles Botkus, Logan Ip midfield.
There's a turning behind the back try from Spidell. That was affected before it got to the net. Harvard found it though. 7:23 remaining first half. Straight on chance, right to the side of the net, and King scores! Jackson Green sets up Sam King, and Harvard has scored 3 goals in a row and has a 4-2 lead over Virginia. What a run for the Crimson right now. Great setup by Green. And Sam King, second nationally in points per game, has his first goal of the day. 4-2 the lead for Harvard over UVA.
Comment earlier, I love the band at the lacrosse games. I love them showing up in the spring, not just the fall.
Yeah, it's really a cool atmosphere here. You mentioned it this week when we were chatting, how many of the local high schools kind of made sure their games were either Friday or Sunday this week in order to make sure that some of the youngsters could get out to this game here as well.
I'm coaching in the area. I'm trying to spread the word as much as I can. When you have players of this level, not only at Harvard, but if you get the chance to watch Virginia, you want to make sure you don't pass it up.
So Harvard's back to offense here, having scored 3 goals in a row. One more coming. No, it just missed wide from Logan Ip. Back up to Sam King. So King once again will restart for Harvard. 4-2 game with 6:35 remaining here in this first half. King cycling again, got it to Ip. Is there a position to shoot? No, he goes with the pass. It bounces through. Malone actually got a chance at it as he went diving across the crease. Harvard does find it momentarily, but now it's given away. And Virginia's back on possession here with John Schroeder.
That was an incredible ground ball shot by Malone. Botkus gets stripped on the far wing, and the Cavs are off and running.
Virginia just trying to change momentum here a little bit as they settle things down. 6:02 remaining. Virginia has not yet scored in this second quarter so far. It's a 4-2 lead for Harvard in a game that Virginia led 2-1 after 1 period of play. Griffin shuts. Dodges back to his right. 2 Crimson defenders met him before he gives it off for Millen. Cormier, the spot he loves. Jack Boyden, who has a goal so far today for Virginia. Down to 25 to shoot here for the Cavaliers. Remember, Harvard has nearly forced Virginia down to 0 on their possession twice already today. Schellenberger got the pass off. Nowhere to shoot. Great defensive play there against Schutz. Who's the ground ball going to? It's Harvard's.
Harvard defensively is doing a great job taking away the strong hands of these players. Each one of them have highlight films hours and hours long, and Harvard clearly paying attention and trying to make Virginia be deliberate.
Harvard going quickly, bouncing. Ball goes! Jack Peterson with his first career goal. Harvard has scored 4 in a row. It's 5-2.
I would struggle to think of a team that would be better to score my first collegiate goal against than the University of Virginia on a beautiful weekend here in Cambridge, but you can see how fast the Crimson are playing. And there's Teddy Malone feeding the ball instead of carrying it. Sam King scoring off ball instead of dodging. Harvard is really putting the pieces together here, up 5-2, excuse me.
What's changed offensively? Maybe it's just the shots are going in, but what adjustments have you seen that Harvard's made here in this second quarter that's allowed them to go on this run?
I've always believed that when the weather kind of turns, when the rainy season kind of leaves a little bit, you're no longer a freshman, you're no longer a sophomore, you have a role in the offense, you have a role in the defense, and you're a more comfortable part of the team. So I think there's less thinking and identity, and there's more just kind of playing and reacting.
So Jack Peterson gets on the board. 4 in a row here for the Crimson in this second quarter. And it's a 5-2 lead for Harvard over number 2 Virginia. Crimson at 6-2 overall, Virginia 8-1, and that's why Griffin Schutz sneaks inside and ends the run for the Crimson and makes it 5-3.
You can see right there why the first thing you're taught at lacrosse camp is stopping the ball, just like at basketball camp. You have to stop the ball. And the big man, Griffin Schutz, gets where he wants to, and he beats the slide as well. That's difficult for Harvard if they're going to compete. They have to slow down right there. Sean Jordan has to engage because Peyton Cormier is left with his hands free, so you have to stop the ball here.
So it's goal number 15 of the season for Griffin Schutz, the junior from Trumbull, Connecticut, who came in top 20.
The home point in 10 seconds.
And that makes it 5-3. So with 4:16 remaining in the second quarter, 5-3 now. Possession to Harvard. Violation on the faceoff.
Owen Umansky getting his first of the day, I believe, Eric. He was a real high-end recruit out of Governor's Academy, just up north a little bit. And Harvard's really opening the roster. Players have earned it, and you like to see them stepping up.
Well, you said it from the jump today, that there were different guys taking on different roles and maybe throwing Virginia some looks that the Cavaliers were not expecting. And here in this second quarter, it's worked well for the Crimson, who have a 2-goal lead and possession with under 4 minutes to go in this first half.
Scheme-wise, here's a major adjustment, pushing from the middies.
Low shot is stopped by Noon, so his first save in a little while. That was Jack Peterson on the shot. At Virginia, who just scored moments ago, quickly in. And the Cavaliers can now set up their offense.
That early offense that Coach Tiffany talked about, because Harvard has a lot of offensive players stranded on the field right now, and this could get very messy for them.
So we'll see how quickly Virginia chooses to go here. Schellenberger will wait here for Virginia to get some of their main guys on. So will Corey. Cycles in. Corey's wide with a little bit of space.
Home point updated.
And that's the matchup right there. Jack Spidell getting caught playing defense. Let's see if Virginia goes after him.
Cormier backs off, gives it to Millen.
Take
25 to shoot here for the Cavaliers. Ball is out. Harvard creates the turnover. Just who you mentioned, Spidell makes a really good play.
I hate to say it, but ever since I started talking chicken cullets, Jack Spidell has really stepped up and done his job.
Spidell with the goal of the game already, causes a turnover there and gets the ground ball. And with 2:20 to go in this first half, Harvard is going to take a timeout and talk about what could be a really important sequence here, with Harvard up 5-3 on Virginia with 2:19 remaining in this first half. Well, the ACC, it's hard to believe we're this far into the lacrosse season. Of course, the ACC really hasn't started yet, but for one game. As you see, Notre Dame, the defending national champions, were picked first. This conference, which is just always so good. And the surprise really has been Syracuse, and how Syracuse has jumped up and played really well at the start of the season. 9-2 to begin the year. Feels like Gary Gate now finally has them going right here. You know, after a couple of years as a head coach on the men's side. Huge matchup today, Syracuse, Notre Dame. But it does create kind of a pretty incredible end of your schedule when you play in the ACC, when you only have to play 4 conference games. So Virginia, after today, this is their final non-conference game. They'll play North Carolina, at Duke, at Syracuse, and then home for Notre Dame, which is quite a Final Four games. The ACC should be just as impressive as it's been in years past.
I think it's great. The ACC is loaded up. I remember a few years ago when Notre Dame joined for lacrosse, people started thinking things were going to get weird, and they did. When Maryland left, they got even weirder. But you love to see Virginia. Once again, I'll say it over and over. I'm a New England guy. I'm happy they're in town. I hope Carolina comes up at some point as well with some New England roots. But the recruiting here that's going on with the athletes in the local high schools, with the Lyndon Verbals, with the Preston Evans, with the local players that are really expected and gonna produce at the next level, there's no doubt Virginia will be back.
We've seen kind of, you know, Final Four's been awarded to this region. Hartford for a couple of years. Foxborough's coming back here in the future. So having games like this and important ones, it's really important. Virginia, who's number 2 right now in the most recent Inside Lacrosse poll. They were preseason number 3, been as high as number 2 this year. defending national champions Notre Dame. And then, as we were saying, Syracuse is the team that kind of has been the surprise in terms of how much they've taken the jump. Maybe not that it's surprising that the jump was going to happen, but maybe how quickly it has this year.
I think we talked about it earlier. The later game, Syracuse-Notre Dame, is going to be a primetime game for that 2 o'clock slot. But when you have Gary Gait building a program where he can recruit Canada, he can recruit all of North America and anywhere else, who doesn't want to play for Michael Jordan? That's kind of what's going on. Who doesn't want to play offense for Gary Gait?
So you see Virginia right there under Lars Tiffany, who's really built quite a program here, carrying on the Virginia legacy. Of course, he's very familiar with the Ivy League. He played at Brown, he coached at Brown. In fact, left Brown to take the head coaching job at Virginia 8 years ago.
His last year at Brown in the Final Four, the Wharton winner, Dylan Malloy, was unable to play at 100%. He was playing at like 40%, and they still almost beat Maryland in Philadelphia. So he's proven great coach and a great recruiter.
2019, 2021 national champion. And a national semifinalist last year, losing to the eventual champs Notre Dame in overtime. So out of the timeout, 2:08 remaining here in this first half. And Harvard to work with Jackson Green. See what the Crimson have drawn up on the offensive side. Malone tries to get in against Schroeder. Malone still on it, works to King. Plenty of time here for Harvard. Logan Ip has a goal so far in the game.
Picks and more picks for both teams. High school coaches, youth coaches, you're watching it. Teach your players how to deal when somebody comes to the ball.
There's a pass right in front, hit the top of the bar. Noon's got a piece, and then Botkiss's shot grazed off the crossbar with 1:37 remaining in this first half. Reset to 60 as Harvard back on possession here with Jackson Green.
Botkiss's release is so effortless. He doesn't even have to move his hands off those ground balls. It's just so fun to watch.
There's a bounce shot, stopped by Noons. Harvard's right back on it. Botkiss had the opportunity again. Here's Malone, diving chance, he scores! Teddy Malone, count it. It's 6-3, Crimson lead.
That was a massive goal. Coach Tiffany made the point, Eric, in the pregame phone call about sliding and sliding fast and often. No slide there to Teddy Malone, and he took it right across the face of the crease. You see he gets underneath his defender, and then it's just go time. He launches himself.
And does a great job in his landing to stay out of the crease there. So that was that brief conversation. You'll get a great look at it. Yep, he's out.
Wow, that drone view is incredible. That view we just saw, you can see how athletic. Teddy Malone knew exactly where he was.
So with 1:05 remaining in this first half, Harvard has possession once again. So they have really held up on the face-off so far today. Held up even more than that. They've out-faced off Virginia, but it's given away here. And the Cavaliers on possession with under a minute remaining, trying to stem the tide of the momentum right now, which is all on the side of the home team, which has gone from down 2-1 to up 6-3 here in the late stages of the first half. Virginia allowed their offensive guys to get on, which allowed Harvard to switch out some of their defenders as Menke works from X. He can see the clock as he sets up the offense. Sunderland over for Schellenberger, 14 remaining in this first half. Schellenberger peeling away from Campisi, who's there defensively. Here's Menke, switches to his right, got the shot through, he missed wide. With 4.7 remaining in this second quarter. Not a bad look, but couldn't get it on goal. Virginia goes quickly, gotta go. That skips all the way through untouched, and that does it for the first half. What a half it was, what a second quarter specifically it was for the Harvard Crimson, who go from down 1 to up 3 on the number 2 team in the country. Impressive second quarter to go again from down 2-1 to up 6-3. How did they do that in quarter number 2?
I think it was they just became aware of who they were, slowed the ball down, played very, very efficiently offensively.
And they're going quickly right off the jump. First shot missed wide from Matt Baracco, the sophomore. As you said, someone who hasn't played a ton so far this year, but getting an opportunity today.
Takeoff.
Here's the big matchup that we were all thinking about, the Kastner-King matchup. Let's see what Harvard comes out and does offensively. Where are they going to attack from? And here you see number 5, closest to us, Jackson Green, the 5-star. Let's hope he gets going right now.
Important here just for momentum early for Harvard to just get possession here right away after carrying all the momentum at the end of that first half.
I agree, and you like to see from a Harvard perspective, they're not sliding fast as Sam King, so hopefully Harvard gets some possession and some hands-free opportunities here to start.
Here's Ip, low shot, hit the side of the net. It was loose behind, Nunes couldn't find it, and Graham Blake finds the rebound for the Crimson. Timer does not reset there off the side of the cage, so 27 to shoot for the Crimson. 6-3 is the Harvard lead. Here is Malone, got his position, it gets blocked, comes right back out. Botkiss with a chance, that's stopped clean by Nunes.
This is not what Harvard needs, a chance for Virginia to get in transition, and that is a big ground ball coming out right here, big man 44. Does he get the shot off or move it? He's moved it so far this game.
And he does get rid of it as he was falling to the turf, and now Virginia will set up. Quickly, it's on, loose on the turf, and it's picked up by Barnard.
Eric, Coach Tiffany talked about early offense, and there I think the Who's got themselves into a little trouble trying to outthink themselves, whereas Harvard just sitting in, playing their defense. They're not going to match those substitutions.
As the Crimson cycle on offense here, let's check in with the third member of our team, Joel Godet.
Adam, you noticed at the end of the first half, you said Harvard had some of their offensive men stuck playing defense.
Here's a quick chance in. Peterson is stopped, but a flag comes out at the end of it. So Peterson, who was hit from behind at the end of that sequence, Joel.
Actually, they weren't stuck playing defense. That was by design, talking to Harvard coach Jerry Byrne. They left their offensive midfielders in to take away Virginia's transition. Coaches could not have been happier at how that played out in the first half. So I turned that around. I said to Virginia coach Lars Tiffany, how do you counter that? He said, listen, they're doing great in transition. We need to do better in our early offense, what they call the second phase of their offense, because he's been impressed with how those offensive middies have settled back and played on the defensive side of the ball.
I love that. I love that. How about that sideline reporting? We're crawling up in Coach Burns' head and finding out why and what they're doing, the things that are bringing them the lead so far here at Jordan Field.
Well, you know, we talked about it from the crowd standpoint today as Harvard goes a man up here. How many fans are here getting to see high levels of players, but you're getting to see high levels of coaching as well between these two. Jerry Byrne and Lars Tiffany trying to engage in the chess match. That's 6-3 Harvard right now, early stages, third quarter. Here from Jordan Field and the Crimson on the man up, turning shot, it goes! Graham Blake with his 5th man-up goal of the season, and Harvard has a 7-3 lead.
Graham Blake was about a minute away from a chirp there. The shooter needs to find his rhythm again. He started really hot this season, and here he's doing what he's paid to do. I hate to use that analogy, and he is not, but he's putting the ball high to low on the cage, and that's what the Crimson need here at home.
So Graham Blake, who's been a specialist in these situations, he had just 4 goals total last year. He has 5 goals this year on the man up.
He's an incredible shooter, so accurate inside 5 yards. We're getting a shout out to Liam Banks, who coached him a few years ago, who mentioned his name this week in a phone call I had off the air, talking about just how determined he is, the West Coaster, to find a role and really have a great season this year for the Crimson.
And let's just talk about how much possession that Harvard has had. I mean, it's just felt like Virginia just has not had the ball all that much since the start of the second quarter.
Coach Tiffany talked about the face-off challenges for the Cavaliers, graduating Petey LaSalle, who took, like it seemed, 1 billion face-offs over the last 4 years, and here's the growth of a young team.
Face-offs since the start of the second quarter, as that shot just missed. It's loose, Peterson trying to spin away, still a ground ball. It's 6-2 in favor of Harvard on the face-off right now since the first. And the Crimson are right back on it. That got knocked down by the 6'7" Kastner, as Arndt had an opportunity momentarily. Still on a ground ball, and now Virginia's away with it. A lot of pressure, though. The Crimson King all in the face of the goalie, Nunes.
That was a grown-up ground ball by first-year Jack Peterson there to retain possession. Unfortunately, the Crimson couldn't hold on to it. But number 32 is really stepping up as the season grows.
Let's take the Virginia side of this. It's 7-3 right now in a game that you felt like you had the lead in. There were a bunch of chances, and that's just thrown away. Really good pressure by Harvard there on Ben Weyer, and the long stick just threw it away.
Let's talk late March, out of league game, a team that you literally did anything you wanted to the year before. It's beautiful. Your parents are probably here. You're going to have Easter or something tomorrow. This is a really tough road trip for Coach Tiffany and the Hoos.
So they are trailing right now, a spot that they have not had to be a ton this year. That was thrown behind Graham Blake, and a turnover gives possession to Virginia. Pretty clean today. Turnovers are about even. It's now 12-10. Harvard with the 12 turnovers so far in the game.
Those back and forth turnovers are tough here. We're still starting early part of the third quarter here. We just need the teams to find the rhythm. And here's another one, Eric.
So that's 2 in a row for Virginia. Lars Tiffany hands to his head in disbelief after that sequence, as Harvard is right back on sequence. Right now and wide open in front is Graham Blake.
Graham and I had a discussion a few weeks ago. He thought I was being a little too difficult as him not being a Dodger. And I said, Graham, you got a great role as a shooter. And what's he do right there? A left-handed goal when his team needed it right on the doorstep. So Graham, I hope your ears are burning. You're doing a great job right when your team needs it.
Well, he scores 2. He's the first player in this game to get to multiple goals. He has a goal in every game this year, and now 11 straight overall going back to last season. And it is 8-3. And this is now just a total stunner in terms of where the score is right now. Virginia going quickly, though, and they take advantage. Long stick goal from Tommy McNeil, his first of the season and just his second point. And oh boy, did Virginia need that. It's now 8-4.
Face-off, ground ball, a goal as a response, as a reaction to the Crimson stepping up. You see how fast that the Cavaliers can play. Virginia plays whistle to whistle. They're so dynamic, so athletic, and just gigantic physically. So that's a tough save for Christian Barnard to make on the Hoos.
I know that's a little different than what Lars Tiffany was talking about with Joel in terms of that early offense, but just getting an unsettled sequence there and just beating the Harvard defense back. Here, though, a whistle goes against Virginia, so the Crimson will get possession out of it. Under 10 minutes to go in what's been a lively start to the second half of this game.
This Harvard midfield has done a great job, Green, Pip, and Bacchus, of controlling tempo. They're not letting the Cavs run when they don't play well, but also this Cavs offense, this Wahoo offense with Schellenberger, Millen, and Cormier is going to just get revved up, I imagine, over the next 20 minutes.
And it's quite a credit as they have combined those 3 for just 1 goal in the course of this game. Virginia has just 4 total. There's a shot from the outside, knocked down. Virginia is going to be there on the backup. Excellent effort from Will Erdman, the first year from Norwalk, Connecticut, to get in position to back that up. So Virginia now with the chance, at least, to build a little bit of momentum here.
This is how they usually do it. Ground balls or saves, kind of push transition here. You got Griffin Schutz attacking a short stick downhill with some early offense here for UVA.
It clears successfully here. There is Cormier. That's another post that he hits, and he can't believe it, as Harvard will go quickly back the other way. Andrew O'Berry picked up the ground ball and brings it into the box for the Crimson, up by 4, 8:46 remaining here in this third quarter. Malone in position, bounce shot, Newton's got a piece of it. Still finds its way into a Harvard cross.
That's Teddy Malone, the heavy lefty, taking a split dodge there to his
turnaround try, didn't get a clean shot out of it. That was Malone again. So he got knocked to the ground. So Virginia survives 2 Malone shots that time, and will restart.
See the punt return clear just to get back to Malone. In transition there, a little settled quick offense. He's splitting left to right to take that shot. That's something the second year did not have last year coming out of Haverford as a 5-star.
So Virginia here will slow down a bit. And Schellenberger, the captain, held off the board so far in terms of his scoring. He does have an assist in 3 shots today.
Here's some more of leaving our offensive midfielders on the field that was reported on by Joel earlier. John Arndt on the field right now, and it doesn't seem like they're in a rush to get him off.
Millen looking for somewhere to go. 28 to shoot for the Cavaliers. Schellenberger. Schutz couldn't quite handle the pass. And it is out of bounds off the near side. Harvard ball.
That is some reckless intensity by Greg Campisi there on the sideline, chasing that ground ball. You can see the reaction from his teammates. Virginia's wondering who to look at, who's going to be the one to go for 1 or 2 right now to find some momentum.
So now let's see what Harvard can do. They've led this game a couple of different times by 4 goals, 7-3. And 8-4 where it stands right now. 7 minutes to go here in the third quarter from Jordan Field. Dowling straight on, off the dodge, moving away from Erdman. Here's King up top this time. King got a rip and a save made by Nunes.
Was that a save or a post? That might have hit him right in the face, I think.
It got the mask, the way it deflected all the way out to the far side. With 6:40 remaining. Off the restart for the Crimson.
Nunes, a giant in the goal. You see the replay here. Sam King gets the top side. Yep, puts it right off his face.
Both goalies have stepped up big when they've needed to today. 8-4 the Harvard lead, 6:23 remaining. Peterson got space, and that one doesn't go. I think that hit the back post before it came out to the near side.
Shot clock resets to 60. This is a great possession for Harvard. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter here, excuse me.
They've definitely had more, as that's a good play by Nunes. Jumping out, getting possession that time away from Lucas Hilsenrath. But it's been more 2-shot, 3-shot possessions here for Harvard. It's just felt like they've had so much more of the ball than Virginia, especially here in this third quarter. Clearing game has not been quite as crisp today, really either way, as it is normally just off the possessions. That was almost taken away. Virginia 15 of 18 clearing. Remember, they come into this game second best nationally in clear percentage at 94%.
You see the nifty stick work by Jack Boyden. I think he was an indoor pro draft by the Rochester team. So clever with the stick, he throws that twister pass so he doesn't have to put the stick in his left hand. But here's a highlight matchup there, Millen and Martin Nelson.
Schutz straight on. Pass comes to the side of the net, they score. Jack Boyden with his second goal of the game. And the man from Tufts, after transferring into UVA after his strong D3 career, has 2. And UVA still trying to stay in contact. It's an 8-5 Harvard lead over second-ranked Virginia as Boyden cuts it back to a 3-goal deficit. So with 5:11 remaining here in this third quarter, it is 8-5 the Crimson lead. Virginia has scored now 2 of the last 3 goals in this game after Harvard built their biggest lead to 4 a couple of different times, and Virginia wins the face-off here. So the face-offs, which Harvard had pretty heavily been in control of for a while, they had won 9 of the first 14, but Virginia takes that one here. And we'll see if the Cavaliers can set up, try to get this back to a 2-goal game. Still plenty of time here with 4:44 remaining in a game that has not resembled at all what we saw last year between these two teams when they combined for 45 goals. Just a ridiculous scoring display all the way through.
There's your pick on the GLE. Bergstrom's off Schellenberger, and this is exactly what the Wahoos want.
With Schellenberger against O'Berry, he used the ground to try to pass it, but Harvard still manages to get a takeaway out of it. And quickly down the other end, Campisi decides to give it off to Malone. He will retreat back. So what a job there on a sequence that you said Virginia got the matchup they wanted.
Eric, I love your half-full approach, saying that that's a bounce pass, not a defensive strip on that. But you can see how quickly Harvard is setting up, getting their personnel on. They're starting to realize they need to really, really value the ball and take some more shots, I think.
Here is Jackson Green. Away from Yeager, the Harvard transfer. King set up, great chance here, and it bounces off of Nunes. That's Miles Botkiss, the junior.
We had from the press box the best angle of that view, and if Miles just simply moved his stick once, the goalie would have bit. Instead, he hits him right in the chest between the 4 and the 1.
King trying to keep possession of it. It's taken away, and Virginia comes away with it. That's Will Erdman. He's gotten some important minutes here as a freshman, coming off a 3 ground ball game against Drexel last time out. Ground ball right back to it. There's a flag down on the near side, though, as the Crimson nearly got possession.
That's an interesting flag from that official right there. There was a guy right in front of the play, but I think when he hit the ground and then he made contact, the Harvard player made contact with the player on the ground. I think that was the issue, but great stop by Malone there on the initial contact.
So Malone, as you said, is the one who takes a knee on the near side.
You can see Malone, when an attackman turns the ball back, you're able to set your ride up. Actually, as we're watching it here, I'm going to wonder maybe he turned into it from the official's perspective. That looked pretty neutral to me from this announcer's point of view.
So Virginia with the opportunity, man up. They are 0 for 3 on the extra man so far today. Millen right in front. They take advantage this time. Good setup from Millen, and he hits Peyton Cormier for his 2nd goal of the game. And Virginia has clawed back to within 2. It's 8-6.
Virginia does a great job of moving personnel and forcing the defense to react. That's a great cross-crease look by Millen. Cormier does what he should. I think he has 3 or 4 points, and he's at the ball in a stick for 3 seconds. Just so efficient, and you can see Virginia's just throwing these passes on ropes. They know right where their teammates are going to be.
And that's all about Millen on the setup. Easiest goal that Cormier will find. His 2nd of the game for Peyton Cormier. And Jerry Byrne, I think, is asking, he's got the challenge flag down. The officials did not see it at first before putting that face-off down, but the challenge flag was on the turf before. So he is going to use his challenge. Remember, he used his first half challenge earlier and did not get the call overturned. And we'll see what happens here as the officials will come to the iPad on the near side with 2:54 remaining in this 3rd quarter. 8-6 is where the score stands right now, should this goal stand.
Harvard really needs to have some deeper possessions, but here as we go to the replay of the Cormier goal, they're probably just looking at the big man's footwork, but I would imagine it's pretty clean with the kind of damage he's done over his career. You can see the ball goes from Schutz to Millen, throws it right on the backside.
Maybe
tape.
that last step is
Maybe.
the question.
Or maybe the officials just like, we want to watch a guy that dynamic, that size move and enjoy the opportunity and the beauty of the game. But you can see this Virginia offense when they spread out. Everyone knows their role, and it's just been a great 3rd quarter from a Wahoo perspective.
So there the officials looking in at the iPad with 2:54 remaining in this 3rd quarter. And trying to get the sun out of their eyes may be as difficult as anything else to see. The only thing it looks like to us is just what we said, was that final step as he took the shot. Did that happen to cross into the crease? It was difficult to tell on the one angle that we had. And that'll be the other question here. Of course, you need indisputable evidence in order to overturn a call like this. So is there the camera angle for it as well, will be the question that the officials try to answer here. See if we can see another look at it. Oh, maybe actually it was the follow-through step.
From that view, it looked like his left foot led before he released the ball on the crease there. That's a pretty good view. You can see that the big man with the brace crashes 24 on the backside. Watch that left foot right there when it lands. Wow, that's insane camera work.
Let's see.
Boom, so maybe it's, yeah, it looks like he is clear there a little bit. You can see some green, but who knows?
So they take a look at all that footwork, see if everything is clean. Taking a long look at it with 2:54 to go in the third. Again, remember this is a Harvard challenge of a call of a good goal on the field. And really just kind of turns into a pseudo timeout either way here. It feels like, assuming that if this goal stands, does feel like, again, it hasn't been any kind of crazy run, but slowly but surely Virginia's kind of taken a little bit of the momentum back here in this game.
Virginia has definitely chipped away at the Harvard lead. Harvard is still fighting and still getting chances, but they need to finish some of these opportunities they have on the goal. Botkus missed the 1-on-0. Some of the other players are just a little wide. Now we're in time, under 3 minutes in the third quarter. Number 2 Virginia's here at Jordan Field. It's time for, let's all kind of step up here, take a deep breath collectively, and go after this game.
And how about that crowd on hand here? The highest ranked opponent to play here at Harvard since 2013 when number 2 Cornell was here. First time that Virginia has played at Harvard. After last season, the Crimson opened their season down in Charlottesville.
I guess this is the karma from my earlier comment.
This is absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take the blame for this one. But hopefully the officials look like they're coming back on the field and a decision may have been made.
Well, I don't know if a decision was made. They're still talking about it.
I love how they're covering their mouths like they're lip readers here like we're in the NFL.
Well, hey, we got a lot of cameras, so you got to be, they're going to stick with the call. So it stands as a goal, and it remains an 8-6 game. So it will be the second goal of the game for Cormier, 2 for Boyden as well for Virginia. On the other side, Blake has 2 for the Crimson. So with 2:54 to go, 8-6. Harvard holding on to the 2-goal lead. They've led by as much as 4 in this third quarter at both 7-3 and 8-4.
I'm going to dare say this next 3 minutes is really, really critical for the Crimson here. They do not want to have to chase and play catch-up after being up. I think this first group's out in the midfield. Sam King's on the field. We'll see what they do out of this unfortunate timeout, but great opportunity here for the Crimson.
2 really good offenses. Again, 2 of the top 6 offenses in the country on the field here today that have been slowed down a little more than usual as we play here in the late stages of the third quarter, still at single digits, which has not happened a ton for these 2 teams all season long. 8-1 Virginia, 6-2 Harvard. Spinning, what a chance from King. He got it right back, fakes a couple of times, and it just rolls out to the crease, but it's picked up. What a save by Nunes. Oh my, he stopped Spidell on the rebound chance, but then Harvard is awarded possession once again.
That last 5 seconds, we will see that on TV. Look at that, he's got Nunes on his butt who makes a save, and then they make the second save on Spidell. This is incredible goaltending. That's his Heisman moment right there.
That's an outstanding save. But then Harvard given possession right back here. So 2:02 remaining. And the Crimson to work on the offensive end. King sets up Malone, and he picks out the low corner. What a shot by Teddy Malone. His second goal of the game makes it 9-6.
Sam King threw that pass, shall we say, with a little alacrity there out the backside through Teddy Malone. And Malone hits that low far corner. Shooters shoot, and that's what he did right there. That's an impossible save with time and room. Malone steps into it. Just got to line up for a faceoff when you get a chance like that.
We got a great look at it right down the line as we see it, and just perfect positioning on the shot. And you mentioned it, after that sequence where it felt like Harvard had had their chances, couldn't convert, but a great opportunity and another face-off win, by the way, for the Crimson. They're back on it right now. Zoe Guest comes in, but that's quickly out on the backside. Back up to Harvard with Jack Spidell. By the way, Matthew D'Souza was in for that last face-off, so Virginia is still kind of trying to figure it out here at the face-off, where Harvard has been the team in control 11 of 17 on the faceoff for Harvard today.
I think this has been one of the differences, unfortunately, as I was about to say it, this second midfield's opportunities, but unfortunate turnover there in transition. That's the usual sure-handed Andrew O'Barry, who plays in a defensive role.
So Virginia gets it across here, trailing by 3. Final minute of this third quarter. Here's Griffin Schutz. Got rid of it to Boyden. Schellenberger, near side, whips a shot, missed it high. Back up to Virginia. And the official asks for time here.
Great coaching moment here. We're going to use every opportunity. Notice how Ryan Colsey approached the ball from the out of bounds. He didn't stand inbounds and pick it up. If you step out of bounds with the ball, then the official has to say, young man, please step on the field. It buys your team an opportunity to set up and make sure you have all your personnel.
So a quick chat, everything stands. Looks like they were resetting the clock. So the clock reset to 41 seconds remaining in this third quarter. And Virginia can take it all the way down to a final shot if they so choose. 9-6 Harvard leads. Schellenberger trying to set up somewhere. Has Schutz against Ray Dirth. Schutz trying to back down. Nowhere to go against Dirth. Got it out to Schellenberger. Here is Colsey as it cycles around. 5 seconds, got to go. Chance from Boyden, ends up missing high. 3.1 remaining in this third quarter. Virginia there in the backup. They go in quickly. No shot to be had. So at the end of 3 here at Jordan Field, it is 16th ranked Harvard with a 9-6 lead over number 2 Virginia, trying to pull off a huge upset. 3-goal lead for the Crimson on their home field. What a game this has been in front of a sellout in Cambridge here on NESN. Again, I think this is one of those, you know, Adam, you look at the last 2 games and Harvard falling to some conference opponents in Yale and Princeton, Yale on the road, and to be able to kind of, they've put together here a really impressive game plan. And now it's about, can you finish this off? A little bit of momentum for Virginia. Harvard stopped it with that big goal late from Malone. And now can you find a way through this fourth quarter after Princeton kind of dominated the fourth quarter against Harvard last time out?
I think you just mentioned the reasons. Because the last 2 games were Yale and Princeton. These are Ivy League top 5 matchups, and Harvard is weathering the storm. The kids are growing up. The players are rising in class, you can say, through experience. So I would also like to proudly say I was on the sideline here at Harvard when we beat Duke, and Coach Cassis was actually, I think, on the team in the early 2000s.
The offensive coordinator now for Virginia, Kevin Cassis, who played at Duke. His first job as an assistant coach was for Lars Tiffany at Stony Brook. They always talked about maybe working together one day again, and as we said, after there was an opening on the coaching staff with Sean Kerwin going to get the head coaching job at Dartmouth, Kevin Cassis decided to take the opportunity, even though it was kind of a move down from head coach to assistant coach, but up to the top level of lacrosse to Virginia. And really hasn't tried to change much on the offensive end, and so far hasn't missed a beat. He's got to find some goals here, though, with Virginia down by 3 against Harvard. Schellenberger gives it off for Corey. Here is McIntosh, just into the game, got it right back. Pass in transition, knocked down and taken away by Harvard. Another loose ball picked up by the Crimson. Big rip score! Greg Campisi, the senior. It's 10-6 Harvard.
Wow, that was an amazing goal, amazing transition. You can see how Harvard is playing so fast off the ground. And let's be honest, when he crossed that yellow line, we all knew what was going on. That high bouncer, probably over 100 miles an hour, just pins under the crossbar, and you can see the enthusiasm, and you can definitely hear it here at Jordan Field.
Well, that turn kind of sums up the whole day, doesn't it?
it's been one of those games where whoever can score 2 or 3 in a row, you're going to help yourself out. But both teams are struggling here in the second half to separate a little bit.
Virginia going quickly off a face-off win. Right in, big hit right in front of the net. Backup will stay here with Virginia. That was Thomas Colucci, who's taken most of the draws for Virginia today. Millen was there on the backup for UVA. And the Cavaliers restart now will slow things down a bit on offense. Now all of a sudden down by 4, tied for their largest deficit of the day.
Sean Jordan, number 52, finding Griffin Schutz immediately. Number 26, the bull in the midfield for the Wahoos.
Schellenberger got a round turn to shot, missed. Ryan Colsey closest to it on the backup. In front of a sold-out crowd here at Jordan Field. Here is McCabe Millen. Quick passing, low shot, score. Peyton Cormier has the hat trick.
Cormier with a hat trick and an assist, and he's had the ball for 4 seconds in his cross. So incredible. I personally love watching elite shooters. He is an elite shooter. You can see, watch this quick release. McCabe Millen gets that great cross crease look, and he's in his windup as that ball's in the air. Very little you can do when you change planes so well. He drops that stick and he just pins it right under the crossbar.
He's just 2 goals away now from cracking the top 5 in NCAA history in career goals. On his way to a 3rd consecutive 50-plus goal-scoring season. And now a little momentum for Virginia. Off of another face-off win on the ground ball by Chismar. 10-7 is our score now. And UVA back to work on the offensive end.
I think it's remarkable how often Cormier is in the right spot, how much time he gives himself or creates for himself, considering he's such a known commodity.
It's just a tough group to hold down for too long. Here is Schellenberger. Schutz working to the middle away from O'Barry. Good pass set up, is knocked down by Barnard. Off to the near side, and Virginia picks it up. Cormier was the one who tracked it down off the try from Jack Boyden.
I think knockdown is very polite. That was a blast right off Barnard's face, I think.
He has been really sharp once again today. Hasn't had to make quite as many saves as the last few games, but he's made some big ones in key spots. That one over the net on the behind-the-back try. It was Ryan Colsey right in front, back up to Millen. 32 to shoot for Virginia, down by 3. Schellenberger working away from Nelson. Pass straight on, and there's another one that Barnard lunging for. Ends up going out wide. Back up by Millen.
Clock's at 22 with no contact here. This is a big matchup for Finn Picorni behind the goal.
Millen goes high with the pass. Finds Schutz against Darren. Knocked down. Ground ball right on the edge of the crease. Net was open there momentarily as Barnard went out to try to help with the ground ball. Still trying to find it. And now it's whistled down.
That is a massive timeout for the Crimson. I know that UVA called it, but Barnard out of the goal like that, right in the middle of the pile, that could have gone badly very quickly.
So with 11:07 remaining in the 4th, we step aside. Harvard a 10-7 lead, trying to upset the number 2 team in the country. Of that last sequence for the ground ball, Virginia got possession and called a timeout, but as you said, Harvard was kind of, everyone was sort of scrambled out there. So Lars Tiffany just deciding to get everything settled once again as he uses the timeout. And Virginia will go back to work. So possession at 60 as we restart with 11 minutes remaining in this game. Virginia is down by 3. They've trailed by as much as 4 3 different times.
Virginia loves feeding Connor Schellenberger up on that high left wing with the 2-man game, but they've been unable to make it work.
Cormier backs down and his shot missed. Back up to Virginia, Ryan Colsey.
Looks like Peyton Cormier is all right after that body contact off that shot. Looked like he was going to look for it rather than taking it.
Yeah, but he got knocked down earlier, came out momentarily, but he has been his normal self of late here. 3 goals plus an assist, as you said. One of the best shooters in the country. Schellenberger comes out for Millen. Schutz has had the ball quite a bit. Spins away, got his defender down, cycles around, a good shot from Ryan Colsey. And Virginia is back within 2.
That was a great shot by Colsey, who I don't even think looked at the goal. I think he just went off of repetition and memory there. Shoots it right off his shoulder, high to low. But great ball movement. You can see the Harvard defense reacts, and Virginia reacts to that. Here's Schutz, kind of runs over Sean Jordan a little bit. Slide comes from the inside, not the adjacent. And right there on the man, but Colsey gets his hands going way too fast for Harvard to catch up. And here we are. It's a 2-goal game, just about 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
Just couldn't have picked out a better spot for that shot. So Colsey gets it within 10-8. 11th goal of the season from the sophomore. Now all of a sudden Virginia playing with possession. Right in quickly goes Colucci, and he missed it wide.
That's Colucci's 2nd shot this half. So he's definitely trying to generate something on that face-off game. And you can see early offense by the University of Virginia right now.
You can see it, though. Virginia is starting to win some face-offs. They've won all 4 in this 4th quarter so far. After Harvard had a pretty big advantage at that spot early on in this game, it's now back to basically even for the day. Quick passing in front, turning shot goes! Truett Sunderland brings Virginia within 1.
That is a huge goal from the Calvert Hall product. Came to college as an attackman. He's playing on this in this midfield group for the University of Virginia. You can see the Cavaliers push from behind the goal, and then they move the ball right back to the GLE. Here's your initiation dodge. The split to the roll, he pushes the ball up high, and you can see that huge passing lane, and there it is. Great cut, great finish by Truett Sunderland.
3rd goal of the season for the Baltimore native. And Virginia's got another face-off here. They're 5 for 5 in the 4th quarter. And what was a 10-6 game, what felt like just moments ago, all of a sudden is 10-9.
And it's weird. It feels as if people are still piling in here to Jordan Field the closer the game gets.
I don't know where they're left coming from. We do have a 2nd game of our doubleheader coming up here. Women coming up later. Here's a chance right in front. That was whistled down before the shot as Colsey was into the crease.
It's pretty obvious that Connor Schellenberger is really trying to find his rhythm. He is going to the cage recklessly and as hard as he can, trying to find the back of the net.
That's turned over, and pretty cleanly too by Virginia. So Erdman brings it in, and all of a sudden the Cavaliers another crack at this, playing to try to tie the game with 8:55 to go.
Lars Tiffany realizes Logan Ipp is matched up with Peyton Cormier. This is a great matchup for the University of Virginia.
He got it out to Millen. Millen, low shot. Back up to UVA.
That's why these Cavalier attackmen are so difficult to defend. They plant and shoot off the roll so easily.
Schellenberger nearly lost his footing, but stayed with it. Colsey now. He scored a goal moments ago. Here is Schutz.
You can see Harvard is daring Schutz to shoot with no slides.
Well, he gets the pass deep. Millen dodging left, and his shot missed wide. Back up again to Virginia, 19 seconds remaining on the possession. Late in the possession here for Virginia. Schutz got in front, he scores! And he ties the game at 10. 4 goals in a row for Virginia.
There's your reaction to the no slide defense for Harvard. Virginia's just going to post up here on the chalk right there, back in. Great inside roll, same hand dodge. He had a little something to say to Logan Ipp, it looked like. But that is a tough matchup for Owen Guest. Griffin Schutz is a monster on the GLE there. Very little you can do.
So Griffin Schutz with his second goal. And it is 10-10. And honestly, I don't know, the biggest difference here is the faceoffs just totally switched to Virginia.
I think you're right. I think we've seen Harvard change their personnel a little bit in this second half. Not that that's done it, but I think the continual momentum that Matty Baracco had in that first half might be chipped away here a little bit.
Faceoffs, Harvard had won 11 compared to 6 for UVA in the first 3 quarters, but Virginia has won all 6 now in this fourth quarter. And we have a tie game. Virginia has not led since it was 2-1 at the end of the first quarter. It's been quite a run for Harvard, and they take it away. Greg Campisi, he's got a goal already unsettled. This time passes off, quick shot missed wide. Jack Spidell, the first year.
Great backup by Teddy Malone. Spidell 2 yards above the GLE, changes planes, looks for that low corner, but Nunes right where he needs to be. Great save, but Harvard with the possession here, 7 minutes on the clock in the fourth.
What a game this has turned out to be. It's about half as many goals as we saw last year, but competitive right down to the end here, 10-10 with 6:47 to go. Virginia defender lost a footing, but the pass was thrown behind the Harvard man. It's out to midfield on the ground ball.
Let's call that an unforced turnover on Chase Yeager, who was a member of the Crimson for the last 3 years. I'm sure these Crimson players would love to go on him to go to the goal.
Here's off the turnover. Cormier's shot is stopped. Big save there for Barnard on Cormier. And he keeps it 10-10, 6:17 to go. Harvard back across quickly with Jack Peterson.
That second midfield group's going to get changed out here after that short possession last time with that Dowling ground ball. But here's Jackson Green and Ip, and Miles Botkus back on the field here. Sam King on the crease. Let's see what Harvard has here planned for him. They're going to move him around to create some room with the Kastner matchup.
With under 6 to go, Green got pushed off. Here is King. And Logan Ip, who scored the first Harvard goal way back when. Gave it off Malone, trying to get position, missed it wide.
Harvard drifting from X now. They're pushing their midfield dodges deeper, and they're trying to throw it on the other side to the attack, and they're trying to get a step on their defenders. We're wondering whether they have to slide or not. That's a change in attack philosophy there for Coach Hutchinson in this Crimson offense.
Green had it taken away. Really good play by Will Erdman to cause the turnover.
Eric, it's almost like Will Erdman has sponsored the last 10 minutes here. You've said his name more than any other name, and that is a really big turnover for UVA.
It'll go down as his first caused turnover. He has 2 ground balls as well, but his impact's felt bigger than that. All the way in is Nunes. He scores! Matthew Nunes has given Virginia the lead.
Christian Barnard scores a couple goals here and there. Matt Nunes, that's a huge goal. We'll wonder if they'll get a sideline penalty for that celebration. The whole team pours over, but that was a massive, massive play. You can see Harvard leaning into their ride a little bit, but it gives Matt Nunes the Broadway right down the center of the field. We talked about it in the pregame. The middle of the field, so critical. That's a huge goal.
I mean, I feel like if your goalie scores, your sideline should be allowed to do whatever they want. Right? Is that
I agree.
An addendum to the rule?
I agree to that, and obviously no flag thrown, so the officials are into the atmosphere here today.
So not only the incredible nature of the goalie scoring a goal, but more importantly, it gives Virginia the lead for the first time since this game was 2-1. My goodness.
Here's your face-off win for Harvard. And look
one
what
in a
midfield
while.
they're back out there with. You like to see this. Going back to that, I'll call it the B group. I don't want to offend anybody here, but
well,
Dowling.
this is important just to reset here. I mean, I know there's not that much time left in the game, but you just had that happen, and all of a sudden, I mean, my goodness, you need to just kind of settle yourself here, see if you can find something on the offensive end.
Harvard's been looking for stretch shooters all year with Gaffney and Perry not playing, but they've done a great job of scoring a ton of assisted goals and finding each other.
Here's a quick chance. That got knocked down. Harvard quickly picks it up here. 4:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. It's 11-10. Virginia the lead after that goal by Nunes. King working quickly. He goes behind for X. With 4:02 remaining, 24 to shoot. Quick try as that pass squirts all the way out towards the near side. A couple of guys diving for it. It stays here.
You see how nifty this Harvard offense can be in response to the hyper skill of Virginia. That was a great opportunity, and Harvard is playing nice and loose here.
Just 10 to shoot now, though. Got to go. Peterson with a lot of pressure on him, got knocked down. Does get the pass away, straight on, got to go on the shot. It's a bouncer from Arendt, and that does it for the sequence.
I agree with Coach Byrne there. That looked like it was kind of a hold by Chase Yeager on ball.
Let's quickly check in downstairs, third member of our team, Joel Cadet.
Eric, as you saw Virginia celebrating a goalie goal, very much a different feeling on the sideline for Harvard. Some things you would expect to hear, but the two things that stood out, number one was a couple of players yelling, "Wake up," and another one chiming in and saying, "It's a one-goal game. No one said this would be easy. Lock back in."
And exactly right. And even though the score was where it was, Virginia at one point down 10-6 has scored the last 5 goals of this game and has the lead thanks to the goal from their goalie, Matthew Nunes. And now with 2:57 to go, Virginia's going to use a little bit of clock here, right, Adam?
I think that's what you have to do. Everyone is so hyper skilled. You have young men that can get shots off when you need it to. But this is the time where Virginia's going to grow up. Coach Tiffany talked about a young team. Well, here we go.
Here is Schellenberger trying to come around. Quick pass. Cormier fakes once and scores. 4th goal of the game for Cormier, and Virginia from down 10-6 to up 12-10 with 2:37 to go.
Wow, that was an incredible finish in tight. He caught that with enough time in his world to fake, move the goalie, and then finish. You can see, I don't know if the camera gives perspective, but he is a giant among men on this field. You see that fake, and he changes planes. Young shooters follow this young man's career. He's showing you how to do it. Here's Graham Blake at the other end with Sam King. Let's get back to that face-off here. Can Greg Campese come through here when his teammates need it, and Matty Baracco make something happen?
Well, it's another ground ball for Colucci, won by Virginia. To their credit, they have scored quite a bit here, and there's a flag down on the field. But my goodness, has this game flipped completely at the face-off.
That's been incredible to watch. Virginia has just simply dominated time of possession. Not necessarily their matchups, but just time of possession.
In front of officially the first announced sellout in the history of this facility. Over 3,000 fans in attendance watching the number 2 team in the country on a frantic comeback. And now holding a lead of 12-10.
When we talked to Coach Tiffany in the pregame phone call, I think he was stunned at how big we thought the audience would be, how big the crowd would be, but the weather played its part, and what a great game it's been so far.
What a job by Virginia to weather the storm. Barnard's going to be more aggressive here with Harvard down by 2, trying to need possession here. Down to 10 seconds remaining on the sequence. Net's open and they score. Ben Weyer scores his 5th of the year, and the dagger for Virginia.
Wow, that was a really, really impressive goal. After getting chased around the field, that's like a 15, 18-yard standstill shot that was moving. Christian Barnard did his best, but that's 2 steps in from the restraining box. That is a rocket. You can tell, I bet these players at Virginia do a lot of these shooting drills for the defensive kids as well, but what a final quarter if you're a Wahoo fan.
There's so many different ways when you look at what makes a team really great. And, you know, there were moments, we talked about it. I mean, it looked pretty dire for Virginia, but to their credit, I mean, it never really felt like they went out of their plan, and they have just stuck with it and totally flipped this game.
They've taken that old high school football motto, make them stop it before you running something different. and Virginia has simply run their offense that high double picks on both sides to get their personnel opportunities in space.
And Lars Tiffany's got to be so happy with how the face-off has gone as well, considering all of these different players trying to figure out who's the best option, doing it without Gabriel today, who is out once again, and the main guy has been Colucci. It was not great for 3 quarters, but it has been dominant so far here in the 4th.
Will Erdman has played great in the 4th quarter as well with a lot of big ground balls. He's a Northeast product, I'll give it to him, from Connecticut, but this is a big win for Virginia. I think we watch this team kind of grow up, and it'll be interesting to watch them on the national stage over the next few weeks.
One of those games you can potentially grow from, and they are just running out the clock here. They don't have to even take another shot. Still on the man up here with 5 seconds remaining on it because of when the reset came. So it's McCabe Millen, who had 3 assists today for UVA. But it was Cormier with 4 goals. But really the star of the show is Nunes, who made a really impressive 16 saves to go along with the go-ahead and game-winning goal. And Virginia, with 7 unanswered, beats Harvard 13-10 to move to 9-1. Pretty special stuff as well. And for all of the comeback as we talk about it, it is Virginia who goes storming down the field, scores the final 7 of this game, and wins 13-10 is the final score. Thanks for joining us today for this special top 16 matchup here in Jordan. For Adam Pascal and Joel Cadet, Eric Galanti saying so long. Again, the final, Virginia